In 1909, 250 kilometers north of Manila, was a newly chartered city, Baguio, a quaint resort town with only a few houses, a hotel, a hospital, a few recreational facilities like golf courses, parks, croquet fields, tennis courts, a country club, a teacher's camp, a military base for rest and recreation, among others. All of this amidst a backdrop of fog-covered hills and pine forests. The city would burst with even more energy, especially during the summer months, when the seat of government was transferred to Baguio, this hill station being the summer capital and all. But despite all these developments up in Baguio, there were rumors circulating in Manila about the newly chartered city's doom. These rumors were further fanned by a resolution filed at the Philippine Assembly declaring the annual transfer of government executives and their respective staffs as an unnecessary and unjustified expense. Eventually, the U.S.-Philippine Commission yielded to the wishes of the Philippine Assembly and voted unanimously to end the practice of making Baguio the official summer capital.
But Baguio City thrived and continued to prosper, especially when, in 1920, a new mayor was appointed, Eusebius Halsema. Halsema, a civil engineer, arrived in the country in 1908 and was assigned as the engineer in charge of the construction of the Osmeña Waterworks at the Cebu Engineering District.
He eventually became the district engineer of Pampanga in 1913, and in 1916, he was moved to the Manila Port Works. Then after a brief stint with the U.S. Corps of Engineers during the First World War, Halsema returned to the country in 1919, and the following year, he was appointed mayor and city engineer of Baguio City, while at the same time serving as the district engineer of the entire Benguet province.
Among Halsema's numerous achievements was the city's extensive asphalted streets, which towards the end of his term as mayor totaled more than 11 kilometers.
It was during Eusebius Halsema's term that Baguio boasted of having an extensive street lighting system using sodium vapor lamps, which was among the most modern lighting systems at that time. He's also credited as having overseen the completion of 3 hydroelectric plants. And in the 1930s, this city, situated hundreds of kilometers away from the capital, 1,500 meters above sea level, already had a very efficient telephone system with 600 lines. The local economy was further propped up by the Benguet gold rush of the 1930s, with the city's budding aviation services fueling that boom. From the time it opened in 1933 till the end of that decade, the Luacan Airport serviced more than 10,000 passengers in a total of more than 8,000 flight hours. A newspaper report at that time pointed out one of Baguio's prides. Promoting Baguio during Halsema's time was easy. The wonderful scenery that Burnham worked so hard to preserve was still in its almost pristine state, unimpeded by giant commercial billboards or towering buildings that ruined the city's skyline, while at the same time having the latest technological advancements and modern infrastructure. The development of the city went in harmony with its natural environment. Now, if only Baguio's succeeding administrators followed Halsema's lead.
While life in Baguio flourished and the city grew steadily under the leadership of Halsema, the situation in other parts of the world wasn't as rosy. By the time Eusebius Halsema was succeeded by Sergio Bayan, the city's first Filipino mayor, Japan, Germany, and Italy began pursuing aggressive expansion policies.
Although a lot of people believed that Japan would never dare provoke the powerful United States of America, there were still enough reasons to be alarmed. Japan has always been perceived by observers as having ambitions to become a world power since the early 1900s. In fact, in the decade preceding the Second World War, Japan was already flouting the idea of a Greater East Asia co-prosperity sphere, a new international order envisioning a group of self-sufficient Asian countries free from Western colonialism and domination. This concept gave enough reason for a Japanese attack on American and other Western colonial presence in the area.
In 1937, the Second Sino-Japanese War had begun, and 2 years later, on September 1, 1939, Germany invaded Poland and World War II began.
The outbreak of war in Europe was a cause of concern for Baguio residents. A lot of them believed that it was only a matter of time before Japan attacked the Philippine Islands. On November 24, 1941, Washington notified the commander of the U.S. Asiatic Fleet that an attack on Guam or the Philippines was a real possibility. All Air Force leaves were canceled, and all forces in the Philippines began preparing for such a possibility.
And yet, a lot of people in Baguio still believed that the war would not come to the Philippines, much less to this highland paradise. On December 6, 1941, the Monday Afternoon Club, an association of American women founded in 1933 to help local indigents, held a benefit dance at the Baguio Country Club, unmindful of talks about the possibility of a Japanese attack. That Saturday night gala was attended by officers of 26th Cavalry, teachers and students from Brent School, and members of the American community in Baguio.
The officers even boasted that their horses would stand up to Japanese tanks in case of an attack. Most of them had no idea at all that that evening would be their last.